Let's start with marketing strategies. But before you do anything, let's figure out the why. Ask yourself, why are you developing a marketing strategy to begin with? Is the company just testing the waters? Is there a specific revenue target? Are there some geographies that matter more than the others? Is the goal to diversify the revenue to mitigate risk? Before you do anything else, you need a very clear sense of why marketing has become a top priority for you. So, now, when you answer this question, there could be 5 answers, 5 whys that you can look into. The first one is growth. If growth is your company's primary concern, you will need to focus more on the top and eventually at the middle of the funnel. This means design campaigns for lead generation and customer acquisition. Second, profitability. If your company's main objective is to boost profits, you will have to take a closer look at the average revenue per customer per parameter to see if you can double down on activities which is most profitable for you. This may require working on more cross-functionalities with your operationals and your finance teams. Third is market share. Is your company focused on taking existing market share from competitors? If that's the case, you might find yourself gravitating towards bottom of the funnel content and campaigns. And here, competitive differentiation becomes key to your organization. Fourth is customer retention. Now, many companies start getting serious about marketing in order to quickly boost their retention or reduce their customer churn. When this becomes a priority, you should pay close attention when this becomes your customers' marketing, advocacy marketing, and ultimately including your user interface. Then the last why could be diversification. Now, often businesses reduce risk by diversifying their revenue streams, much in the same way investors like you and me want a diverse portfolio. Now, to do this, you often diversify by adding either new products or new business lines, or even sometimes new geographies. I hope by now you see that your marketing strategy for each of these whys will be completely different from each other. Now that we have established the why, it's time for us to start with setting our marketing goals. Now here I have shown a simple sales and marketing funnel. It has 5 stages. Now you can define your own stages, but in this example, we've got the target audience, we've got the product service or inquiries, we've got feature discussions, we've got financial discussions, and lastly, sales closed. Now, working backwards, let's say you want to start with getting 50 invoices with an average of about 50,000 each, and at the end of the month about 25 lakhs of billing. So if that's your sales goals, and working backwards now, this would mean at a 20% conversion, you will require 167 proposals to be sent. It could be proposals or it could be your pricing discussions. Now, going backwards again, at 40% conversion, this would mean that you need approximately 417 feature discussions to take place so that at the end of the month, you are able to raise 50 invoices. Again, going backwards, this would mean that you need to get approximately 2,000 plus inquiries, again, to be able to reach the 50 invoices at the end of the month. At a 10% conversion, this would also mean that you need about 20,000 plus target audience size per month for you to be able to raise an invoice of 50 invoices at 50K each. So now with these, you actually have a goal for starting from your sales goals and moving backwards to your marketing goals at each stage of your sales and marketing funnel. Now, this funnel can be addressed by both offline campaigns and digital campaigns. For example, you can attend a trade show to reach your target audience, and then to increase your conversions, you can run an email campaign. So you can mix and match your channels based on what is your specific need. Now, an easy way for you to identify your competition is to identify them in under 3 parameters. First one is your direct competitor. These are businesses who are offering the same products or services which you are offering. Okay. An example when it comes to, let's say, taking the example of a freight forwarding company, other freight forwarding service providers are a direct competitor for them. The second one is an indirect competitor. Now, an indirect competitor is an alternative option that the customer may have. Now, you may be thinking that's not a direct competition for me, but for the customer, it's an alternative option. In the example of a freight forwarding company, a leasing transport vehicles. Now, these are long-term leases for businesses where they can own long-distance transport vehicles, including ships and fleets. So, either of them, these can become an alternative for the customer, and in that case, it's an indirect competition for a freight forwarding organization. Now, the third one could be an aspirational competitor. An aspirational competitor is somebody that you aspire to be in the future. They could be somebody who's a global player, and it is great to follow them and understand what they are doing because it is easy to replicate their best practices in your organization. An example for the freight forwarding business would be Maersk. So this way you can identify 3 types of competitors: direct, indirect, and aspirational. Now that you have understood your competition, it is important for you to map them against your organization. A simple table such as this, where you've mapped the different attributes that you are talking about and how do you and the competition compare against each other, is important for you to understand what should your marketing be talking about. This is also the time where you can connect your customer and their pain areas, their expectations from you, your offerings, and what is the competition positioning themselves. And this is the positioning that you will use in your marketing collaterals. And the attributes which everyone has or everyone is talking about is your secondary positioning. Now it's time for us to start talking about traditional marketing or digital marketing. Here we have a list of traditional marketing channels, especially for B2B. So let's start with talking about your traditional marketing channels. Now it could be TV, radio, hoardings, even your telemarketing teams and your customer references. This list of traditional marketing channels, though still applicable, have become expensive. They take more resources, whether it's time, money, or people, to produce and distribute. They're not scalable because of the very reason that there are high resources required for them. Thirdly, traditional marketing channels can also be very difficult to measure. This makes it difficult to figure out whether your marketing efforts are successful or are they failing. This is the reason that traditional marketing is best for audiences which are local, that means they're physically closer and maybe even language-wise, or those who are not yet technically savvy. Having said this, traditional channels are still great to build trust and then build your brand. Now, let's move on to the digital marketing channels. On the other hand, digital marketing are less expensive. They take lesser resources to produce and distribute, and that's why organizations of all sizes are investing in marketing. Next, they are also scalable. Tech platforms are all based on being scalable, and digital marketing has completely eradicated the geographical barriers today. The last one, it's also easier to measure the results from these channels. In fact, we have a new problem. There is so much of data, it becomes difficult for a non-marketer to identify the right matrices. And that's why digital marketing is best for all types of audience across the entire sales and marketing funnel. Now, let's look at the digital marketing channels for B2B. We've got website marketing, we've got social media marketing, we've got email, content, SEO, PPCs. There are so many different options that we've got. Now, based on your organization, you can actually decide different channels for each part of your sales funnel. For example, on top of the funnel, you can use SEO or social media or even digital publications to bring in or even digital public your sales funnel. Next, we have the middle of the funnel. Here, you can use landing pages, content marketing, website marketing to engage your customers. And at the bottom, we can use email marketing or content marketing or even social media marketing to help you close those leads. Next is, of course, the website. Now here, I want you to think through this. One, that your website is not just a page where you're giving information about your business. It is a place where you can actually convert leads. So there are certain things that you need to keep in mind when you're designing your website. First one is to make sure that your website is mobile friendly and it is easy to navigate. Remember, most of us today browse through websites using our mobile. Next, we also want to ensure that your website is optimized for search engine marketing. What's important for us to also ensure that we have the right call to action. What does it mean? It means when you have visitors coming to your website, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to leave their number so that they can call you back? Do you want them to download some content? Whatever is your call to action, it has to be very clearly defined when you're designing your website. Next is to showcase your educational content. We covered it briefly earlier, but the reason I'm highlighting it now again is that the educational content is something that will establish your expertise to your audience, and it is needed for the audience to take the next action of contacting you. So ensure you've got content which demonstrates your expertise. This could be testimonials, this could be case studies, this could be industry reports. And lastly, ensure that you are using analytics for your website. Google Analytics is of course one of the best tools, and it will give you lots of information regarding the traffic resources, the amount of time people spend on your website, which pages do they spend more time on, etc. You will require these analytics to continuously improve your website. Now, along with digital marketing comes your content. Now, there are different types of content that you can use based on your customer persona and the competition, what they are using. For example, you could use white papers, industry reports, case studies, testimonials also. You can also use content in different format, whether it is video, text, images, or even audio. What is very important for a B2C is the power of educational content. So if you have a business or a product that needs education for the customer to either purchase or after the purchase to use, then the power of educational content is something that you really need to explore. Next is, of course, the website. Now here, I want you to think through this. One, that your website is not just a page where you're giving information about your business. You will require these analytics to continuously improve your website. Now let's start talking about the SEO. There are two types of SEO. One is on-page SEO and the off-page SEO. In very simple terms, on-page SEO is optimizing your web pages to improve the website's search engine ranking and earn organic traffic. And this is dependent upon ensuring that you have high quality content, you optimize your headlines, you use various HTML tags, etc. And the next one is the off-page SEO. This depends on the high quality backlinks to your site to create awareness and drive traffic to your website. For this, you need strong link building, guest blogging, and of course, social media to distribute this content. Now it's time for us to look into our content strategy. Before we start talking about what should our content strategy be, I think we need to spend a little bit of time to understand what content strategy is not. First of all, it is not just about your products and services. It's actually all about your customers. It's not just about promotion, it's about adding value to your customers so that they can make better decisions to buy from you or not. The third one, it is not just about creating awareness, but it is about engaging, it about converting, it is also about retention. And lastly, it's also about sales and marketing, and of course, establishing your thought leadership. Now, if you see, we have done work already about our customer persona, we've done some work on understanding the competition, and now we've also done some work on the content. It is time for us to bring all of these together in a simple table where you're tracking what is your customer persona, what's their pain, what is their requirement, what are you offering to them, what is the competitor talking about, and then relate all of these with various content that addresses this need of the customer. Now it's time for us to start talking about email marketing. Now it's time for us to start defining our email strategies. Now, email is something which you can use for both your sales and your marketing. It is especially useful when you have a long sales cycle, and this is exactly what happens in a B2B segment. Now, I want you to focus on not only the content but also the call to action. Yes, a call to action on your email. For example, a good call to action would be read how ancillary businesses are changing the automobile industry. This is a very clear call to action. The next thing I want you to think about is that one email will never do the job when it comes to marketing. What we need is a series of emails, all sharing different content at different periods of time. In other words, what we need is drip marketing. Now, you can have different types of drip campaigns. You can have a drip campaign for onboarding new customers. You can have drip campaigns to upsell or cross-sell. You can even have drip campaigns to reactivate your old clients. Whatever it is, again, you can design each of these differently based on the need that you have. Now it's time for us to choose the social channel that we need to reach to our customers. Here we have already spoken about our customers, and we've also spoken about what a competitor does. Combining these two, you should get a good understanding of which channels your customers prefer and which channels your competitor is using extensively. Based on this, you make your own choice of the social media channel that you will use to distribute your content or to reach your customers. Not all platforms are created equal. The first step in any successful social media campaign is to find the right social media platform for your company. Some won't align with your brand and others won't align with your customers. Here are some questions that can guide you. First one is, who is your target audience and which network do they spend their time on? The next one is, what type of content are you planning to produce? Is it video, audio, text? In fact, what type of content does your audience like? And lastly, remember to check where your competitors are and what they are doing and what they are not doing. Which channels they are present in and which channels they are not doing. Which channels best represent an opportunity for your brand identity. The next thing that you need to keep in mind is, how many channels can you manage? While it's great that we keep hearing about omni-channels, that is being present in everywhere, the reality is that you may not have the resources to excel in all the channels. So it's always best for us to identify one or two channels, excel in that, and then later on maybe move into others. When it comes to PPC, Google ads are the best options, and Google itself supports a lot of the SMEs in India through various programs, and it will be great for you to do a Google search to figure out what are the Google programs that are available for SMEs who are getting on board the Google platform for the first time. Now, the reality is that you will never use only one marketing or sales channel, or only digital or only traditional. You will always use multiple channels even within the marketing function. Here are some examples of hybrid combinations that you can use. For example, you may participate in a trade show and capture the contact details. Then you can generate a marketing qualified lead or a sales qualified lead through email marketing. Or you may even send the trade show contacts to a landing page and convert them into an MQL or an SQL. Vice versa, you may actually run targeted social media campaigns to your website visitors. Again, it's left to you on how you choose multiple channels to target your customer audience, to engage with them, and ultimately to sell to them. Now it's time for us to start talking about marketing matrices. Now we can measure our marketing performance based on per channel, per campaign, per month. What are you going to measure? You can measure web traffic sources. That means where has this traffic come to your website or to your landing page, number of clicks, number of downloads, number of shares, number of comments. Ultimately, what you're looking for is a number of leads that your marketing has generated, the conversion rates of those leads, and ultimately the cost per acquisition of those leads. By now, you would have realized that marketing is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's something that you have to engage on an ongoing basis. So make sure that you put in some marketing budgets aside every month. Even if it's a small amount per month, make sure that you put aside that small amount and ensure that you actually go ahead and spend it on marketing.